Many ways that I can mess this up.
I approach these women and I say, hey, I know you got some stuff in you. You want to come out and do it? This is it. Goes back to my childhood. When I was young, I used to pretend to be a rock star. If I was home alone, I'd grab one of my sister's records and my pretend guitar, or as it's called in English, the tennis racket. And I would rock out on the landing at the top of our staircase. I'd turn the volume way up so I couldn't hear my own voice. I'd pretend I was playing on stage, singing down to my adoring fans. Sometimes I'd use our broom as a microphone. It had a stand and a mic all in one thing. It worked well. Or sometimes I'd just use my sister's hairbrush, you know, that big round one that made you have the Farrah Fawcett looking hair. Anyway, I'd grab my fake microphone like the coolest rock star and sing along at the top of my lungs, jumping and bending and flailing around like rock stars do, until that familiar sound of the needle hitting the end of the record brought me back to reality. I'd scurry over the record player and pretend I was running backstage to grab a drink from my trusty road manager, Eddie Van Halen. It's my dream, it can be whatever it wants, right? After carefully placing the needle on the first song of side B, I'd make my entrance back on stage in amazing rock star fashion. You know, the super scissor jump that they would do, or the slide across the stage, but you could only make that happen if you had the good socks on. In either case, I'd grab my broom or the hairbrush, do a rock star kick, and maybe one of those handgun moves, and continue on with my concert, my road manager, Eddie, giving me the thumbs up from the backside. When the familiar scratchy sound of the damn needle hitting the end of side B arrived, my rock concert was at an end. I'd run backstage to drink and party with my band, which was actually just me in our kitchen with a bologna sandwich and the cat, Pookie. While the kitty and I were boozing up with some red Kool-Aid, I heard the front door open. I poked my head around the corner, and standing in the spot where my fans just were my two sisters, staring up at the landing, where the evidence was for all of them to see. The broom, the tennis racket, the hairbrush. I think my eyes popped out for a second. I know they wanted to laugh, but they just rolled their eyes like big sisters do and made the yelling at me and saying, "Is that my hairbrush there?" And the other one saying, "Is that my album that you've been listening to?" I was totally snagged, which immediately snapped me back into my 12-year-old reality, standing there in my green striped tube socks, all dirty on the bottom, so I'm sliding across the floor, red Kool-Aid mustache across my lips, bologna sandwich in my hand, and Pookie the cat at my feet staring up my sandwich, waiting for it to fall. It was a sight to behold, and at that moment, I wished and I wished and I wished that I could just run away and be a real rock star. It's called Sally, My Sally, by Beth Achenbach. Sally, my Sally, I've been yours since the moment you were born. On that snowy afternoon, I've been by your side, watching you learn and grow, seeing you dance and spin. I was there when you took your first steps. You smiled at me, and I was proud of you. And I look forward to your future. I was there when you were 5 and broke your little arm, falling from that tree you always used to climb. I was unable to catch you, but I knew you would be okay. Through your younger years, I watched you closely, Sally. You were a sure handful, always running and climbing and hiding. You were a fearless little warrior, but I also knew that you'd be okay. I remember when you were 12 and got that orange skateboard for your birthday. No one understood why you cried when you got it, but I knew it was because you were so sure you weren't special enough to get a present you really wanted. I knew you would fall when you were trying it out and get some cuts and scrapes. but I also knew that you'd really be okay. It became more difficult when you were older. I know you remember the difficult times when you were sad almost every day. You kept up a great appearance, even though you were battling your inner demons. The cuts on your arms were the telltale sign. Your friends weren't sure what to think, and I found it difficult to witness, but you hung in there, because I knew you would be okay. It seemed you learned the most about how you wanted to live your life after that. You continued on, as people do, traveling through time, love, heartbreak, loss, doubt, and fears of the future. Sometimes were easier than others, but you always had an awareness, Sally, that made you special. And I knew you would be okay. So today, here we are. The only other time since you took your first steps that I can see you, Sally. I have been with you through your life, watching you live and grow, only there to guide you, not to intervene. I walk with you now as the warmth of the light takes you in. Sally, my Sally, thank you for helping me earn my wings. I have all these ideas that shoot across my brain's landscape like lightning bolts brightening up the sky during a summer rainstorm. Sometimes the result is picture perfect, and other times it takes repeated attempts. I often become overwhelmed with the turmoil that all these thoughts create, likened to that scene from Lucille Ball trying to catch all those chocolates as they fly across the conveyor belt. Overload is inevitable. At times I look up to the heavens and pray for someone to just shut it off. But in the bigger picture, it is what makes me who I am. My journey of life, like the land of Oz. I'm part lion, lacking courage, part scarecrow looking for a brain, and part heartless tin lady, hanging out with a dykier-looking Dorothy, and maybe a bigger Toto searching for a place like home. On my best days, I am the Wizard of Oz, hiding behind some fabulous crimson velvet curtains. Although I don't intentionally try to scare people off, my bark does tend to be worse than my bite. But I do have great ideas, and I do like to help people when their lack of creativity leaves them stranded amid stranger folks than munchkins. Now don't start to think that I forgot the witch. I can sure relate to her being cranky and misunderstood. If I had a broom, I'd fly and take those monkeys with me on a long vacation and try to improve my skin color. But I'm just me. It's good enough for now until I find my way to shine in the Emerald City. I scream loudly, but only in my head. Words wrapping around my confused brain, memories strangling my ability to function as I struggle to perceive my own mortal actions. I scream loudly, once again, mirrors cracking, crashing, scattering shards of me, portraying my weakness in tiny little bits. 7 years of hell without luck on my side or inside. I scream loudly, with an audible whisper, tainted ramblings riding on the wind, seeking out angelic ears that can translate the language relative only to me. I scream loudly, dark clouds ominous in my world, inner demons surfacing behind monstrous trees that take root in my soiled past. I scream loudly, standing behind silent hazel eyes that can't make up their mind which self to portray, following the struggle but still wanting more and even more. I scream loudly, oftentimes without grace, standing on self-indulgence like an outcast warrior looking for the next lonesome battle she will lose. I scream loudly, without any manners, coyote calls into the night, the darkest nights, seeking my own forgiveness, shouting to the universe, screaming within myself, help me, I'm drowning. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let us not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have every right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should be. Therefore, be at peace at God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham and drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy. Sometimes, they fall off and we say, oh, I love that place. But, if you just came and got your coffee here or your cupcakes, or if you were having a party and you ordered a cake or, some pizza, come have brunch here, she's going to stay in business and we're going to keep being able to do stuff like this. There's going to keep being artists hanging on the wall and we'll all be happy. So, happy Sunday, everybody!